Okay, so today we're talking about the movie Oblivion starring Tom Cruise, where he once again plays a character named Jack. By the way, at the end of this video, we're going to jump into spoilers. We're going to talk about the ending to the movie. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review. So before we jump into spoilers, I'll put like a big red graphic that says spoilers, warning. Like I'll use like an impact font. It's very bold. You can't miss it. So Oblivion is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who also directed Tron Legacy a few years back. And both these movies have a lot of things in common. You know, visually, they're both stunning to look at. They have futuristic, very immersive environments. They both have original scores and soundtracks that are just really cool to listen to and really fit the theme of the movie. But the biggest issue both of those movies have in common is they both suffer from weak scripts, you know, with pacing issues, and it gets a little bit muddled in the middle. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but first let's jump into what this movie's about. So the story takes place in a futuristic post-apocalyptic wasteland of Earth, where Tom Cruise's character helps to extract some of Earth's natural resources. He's actually a drone repairman who goes around on his little flying machine or his dirt bike, and he actually fixes some of the drones with bubblegum. Anyway, Tom Cruise and his lady friend are the only two humans on Earth to get this job done. Now, the first 30 or 40 minutes of this movie I really enjoyed. I liked how Tom Cruise's character just kind of flew around looking at things. You know, he had a sense of curiosity. You really got to learn the landscape. All the visuals were great to look at, and I like that. I've always liked movies where the guy is just by himself wandering around doing nothing. Like, that's a motto for my life, and I really can appreciate that. Now, once the story in this movie really starts to kick in and Tom Cruise's character starts, you know, unraveling what's going on and the secrets of the mission, I really started to lose a little bit of interest. I was like, I just want to see him ride around on his dirt bike a little bit more. Now, the movie also stars Morgan Freeman, and this is no surprise because in every one of the trailers for this movie, they showed off Morgan Freeman. And throughout the movie, I thought that his character was a little bit underused. I mean, it's like you have Morgan Freeman here. At least give him an epic narration to do. My name's Morgan Freeman. That's all I got. Now, like I was saying in the beginning of this video, this movie suffers from some script issues. You know, there's some parts where they just try to overly explain things or drag things out, and it really feels like the movie, you know, it's only like 2 hours long, but it feels a little bit longer than that. Especially some of the scenes are just like, okay, we get it, move on. Just come on, Tommy, go. Now, as far as the characters and acting go in this movie, you know, Tom Cruise plays typical Tom Cruise. That's not to say that it's bad. He's just, every time I see Tom Cruise up on a movie screen, I'm just like, that's Tom Cruise. That is not the character he's playing. But, you know, I just accept that Tom Cruise is somehow alive, you know, 80 years into the future in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and he's really just being this guy on the screen. And I know that's a weird thought to think, but that's the truth. Every time I see Tom Cruise, that is the thought that goes through my head. And as far as the visuals of the movie go, you know, it's this post-apocalyptic setting, and it was just really nice to look at. You know, I really bought into it. I like the production design that they were doing on the movie. One of the shots that really stand out to me is you have Tom Cruise's house that's up on these stilts that are like 1,000 feet up in the sky, and they have this swimming pool that's hanging out under it. It's see-through, which I'm sorry, I'm scared of heights. I just couldn't imagine living in this place. Anyway, Tom Cruise and his chick are swimming around naked in that, and there's, you know, lightning going on in the background. I was like, that is cool. I want to be there right now, in the pool with them. So anyway, Oblivion starring Tom Cruise is a well-made movie. It looks great visually. The only problem that it has is the script. You know, it kind of turns into this cliched thing where it drags out a little bit too long, and the ending really was not that amazing to me. You know, it's just like, we've been there, we've done it before, but the movie borrows a few too many plot devices from previous films that have already been done. So overall, I'm gonna give Oblivion a B-. At times it's really fun, other times it's a little bit daunting and not quite worth the 2-hour wait for the ending climax. Okay, it's spoiler time, and my major spoiler is just going to be basically about the ending to this movie, okay? So I'm not going to explain the whole movie, I'm just going to tell you my issues with the climax of the film. So anyway, throughout the movie, we learn that Tom Cruise is actually a clone because he encounters another Tom Cruise out in the desert. And the real mystery is, why is he being cloned? What is the purpose? What is happening? And there's this space station right above Earth's atmosphere, and this is where all the commands come from. So what happens is Tom Cruise encounters some other human beings that are living on Earth. This is where Morgan Freeman's character takes place. He's like one of the leaders of the human beings who live underground. Anyway, at the end of the movie, Tom Cruise and the other human beings develop this plan to go to the space station, and what they want to do is actually just blow it up. They actually have this fuel cell, and that's their whole plan. Now, they don't know that the space station is actually a self-aware robot. It's kind of like the Terminator. It's like the day that the machines rise, you know, they become self-aware. You know, Skynet comes online and the nukes start flying. Anyway, they go up to this machine, and basically what this machine is, it's almost like Galactus from the comic books. You know, this thing just goes planet to planet, sucking up the resources just for its own self-survival. So anyway, once Tom Cruise flies this little spacecraft up into the Earth's atmosphere, and he enters this huge massive space station slash machine. Once he gets to the core of it, it's just a pyramid-shaped little robot thing floating around with a big red eyeball. Now, I shit you not, this thing has a big red eyeball. I mean, basically, this machine is Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, it even has the same design and the same big red eyeball. It also reminds me of WALL-E, which, you know, that kind of borrowed from a 2001: Space Odyssey also, where, the machine is basically the one in control. It also has a big red eyeball. I don't know what it is. Why does every evil machine, even the Terminator has red eyeballs. Everything that's evil, that's a mechanical robot, has to have red eyeballs. If I ever make a movie, I'm gonna make the machine have blue eyeballs. And that's gonna make me original. Now, as far as the other plot devices of this film, as far as, cloning Tom Cruise's character and making a whole bunch of clones of him to, get the task done, is very reminiscent of another movie called Moon with Sam Rockwell, where they actually did the exact same thing. Now, a lot of people could argue, and even the director, or actually the writer of this movie, actually said that he wrote this script 5 years ago or 5 years before Moon came out. And I understand that. I understand that maybe his idea was technically original to him before the movie came out of Moon. But you would think after watching Moon, he'd be like, you know what, before we actually make this movie, let's change up a few things. You guys want to do that maybe? Okay, so anyway, back to the point. At the end of the movie, you have Tom Cruise. He's in this big space station. He encounters the robot floating around pyramid thing with a big red evil giant robot eye. And he basically learns that the pyramid created, all these clones to help its own survival, and it's just a self-aware robot. Fuck you, Sally. And then he blows it up. And, the ending, I wasn't mad at the ending. I was just a little bit let down with it, So overall, I really liked the movie. I just thought the climax could have been a little bit more original than it was. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.